Devon. It was summer. I know this because there came a moment when my mind slipped out of my body and into his experience. I had two distinct realities, one physical, one mental. And I must have been wearing shorts because I can still feel the sensations of sitting on the coolness of the plastic with it on the back of my legs. In that moment, the 5-year-old boy was playing calmly in the bathtub. I sat on the toilet with the seat down. We probably sang the theme song to Inspector Gadget or Power Rangers. And then we settled into the quiet and calmness that being immersed in water brings. And he began to talk, and there was something transporting in the sound of his voice. He began to explain about the darkness in his basement. I was attentive. His fear was visceral, and suddenly I was standing in an almost darkness halfway down the basement stairs. I was peering into the basement, where all the toys were, but where he never wanted to play. And he began to explain how he was sexually molested by a man, a former babysitter, down in that basement, in the slow, graphic detail. I know it was summer because as he spoke, my mind had left my body. My body had the distinct sensation of the cool, slippery plastic feeling of the toilet seat against my thin, tan 13-year-old legs, and the utter cold of the floor tiles, so smooth on the soles of my bare feet. I could feel my body from the outside in, from the edge of my skin that made contact with the surfaces. But my vision was with Devon, in the basement, peering into his little window as he talked and described his sexual assault. My mind was there with him. I was on the stairs in the darkness, and I couldn't speak. I couldn't say, "No, please don't say anymore." I could only listen, and I was both in the darkness with his story, physically transported and feeling like I was sliding off the slippery seat, feeling like I was sliding into the tiles, being present in his trauma. It went on like this until he was done talking. The water had gone cold. I gently helped him out of the bath that he suddenly seemed so naked in. I wrapped him in a towel and, feeling like I was drifting in a dream, mechanically moved through the process of helping him dress in his jammies. I was so aware of his body and how intimate and fragile it was just to be dried off and dressed by another person. What I remember next was darkness. It had grown late after putting him to bed. I made my way downstairs, only I stopped halfway and sat down with a heaviness that could not take another step. The heaviness grew and the darkness grew. I could not move my body, and I went into a catatonic state. I moved into my mind and brought all the darkness and heaviness and immovability with me. I pushed out to the edges of my mind with grief for this wet, little naked boy. There were no tears, no crying, just a moving into mind. I rolled around all my thoughts, what he had said. How could I be in two places at once? How could I tell his parents? My thoughts kept moving out to the edges, and then my mind cracked, a hard crack, an opening. I traveled through the split, and on the other side, there was darkness, an ever-expanding darkness that stretches on, like the universe, endless. I settled into the darkness and began to move across it. This is the place that I travel to now. It is where I go to be alone. It is mine alone. It is past the point of broken, and though I was frightened when I found it, it has become my gift, my great alone of empathy. When the parents came home, they found me sitting in the dark on the stairs, unresponsive. They called to me, and I could not respond. I could not find my way back. And then I was in my throat. All the words he had spoken bound up in my throat. It was dry and huge, but I could not manage to speak. They became frantic. Slowly, I came back, but I did not want to tell them. I did not want to hurt them. I could not find the words, but then truth has its own way of seeping out. I do not recall what happened next. I will never know what I said or how I said it. I think I walked home alone in the dark, which is fitting.